I was eager for my summer vacation to begin. My friend, let's call him Mike, and I had made the decision to leave the city and relax on a secluded beach because the year had been long and demanding. We pictured relaxing days spent in the sun and sand. We had no idea that our dreamy summertime excursion would soon become a terrifying reality. It was a hot, sunny afternoon when we got to the beach. Our feet felt soft in the sand, and the sound of crashing waves was calming. The ideal escape from the pressures of daily life. It seemed like a paradise. In a hurry to enjoy the peace that awaited us, we quickly set up camp close to the water. The initial days fulfilled all of our expectations. Swimming, tanning, and drinking icy cold beers were some of our pastimes. With hardly a person in sight, the beach seemed like our own private paradise. But as the days went by, we started to notice a strange thing. Wind-borne faint whispers. Mike and I looked at each other in confusion as we tried to make out the distant voices. The sound of laughter and chatter in the air made it seem as though kids were laughing and chatting just out of sight. We combed the beach in hopes of spotting some children hiding in the sand dunes. However, nobody could be seen. It was perplexing and spooky. The voices became more audible as the evenings wore on, disturbing our tranquil retreat. Even as we were laying in our sleeping bags, we could hear their squeals and giddiness. We could not see a single child anywhere, but the sounds appeared to come from the various directions, as if a group of kids were scattered all around us. It gave us chills. The voices continued to haunt us during the day and invade our dreams night after night. The unsettling presence that encircled us eventually consumed us. Our nerves were frayed, and sleep was becoming elusive. We questioned whether the isolation of the far-off beach had misled us, or whether something more sinister was at work. We made the decision to look up the area's history because we were desperate for solutions. We located an old newspaper at our campsite, and as we paged through its tattered pages, one of its headlines caught our eye. Tragic drowning incident on a nearby beach. 2 kids are believed to be dead. It described a tragic occurrence that had taken place on this exact beach 18 years earlier. The article claims that a sudden undertow dragged 2 siblings, a boy and a girl, into the ocean's depths as they were enjoying themselves near the shore. They were never found, despite intensive searches. Since then, there have been rumors of ghostly voices and unexplained events on the beach, leaving the tragic incident to haunt the area. We read the article while feeling a chill run down our spines. The voices we had been hearing were those of the lost children who were stuck between this world and the next forever. Suddenly, it all made sense. They yearned to be understood and acknowledged, and somehow, we had unintentionally joined them in their spectral game. With this newfound information in hand, we made a decision to deal with the ghosts that had troubled our vacation. We went to the location where the kids had met their tragic end all those years earlier and collected offerings, a bouquet of flowers, and a small toy. A profound unease engulfed us as we stood on the sand. Our ears were filled with their wailing wails as the voices in the air became more dense. In silent remembrance of the deceased, we placed the flowers and the toy on the shore, and then, as if by magic, the voices started to disappear, only to be replaced by a harrowing silence. We felt a weight lift off of our shoulders as we made our way back up to our campsite. The spectral laughter that had plagued us had vanished from the beach, leaving it quiet once more. The remaining days of our trip were spent in quiet reflection as we cherished the peace that had returned to our formerly eerie shores. We finally gathered our belongings and departed the beach, and we were aware that we had just gone through an extraordinary experience, a terrifying experience that will live on in our memories. It was a summer break unlike any other, and as we departed, we couldn't help but wonder if the lost children's spirits had at last found the tranquility they had been searching for, their souls freed from the restless shores they had called home for too long. The summer of my dreams was here. The promise of a much-needed break from the daily grind was accompanied by the scorching sun, the cooling lake, and these 3 natural elements. I had reserved a comfortable cabin by the glistening lake that was tucked away in the woods. Little did I know that my idyllic trip would quickly deteriorate into a terrifying nightmare. First impressions of the cabin were positive. Wooden walls and a squeaky front porch gave it a rustic charm. The picture-perfect lake, surrounded by soaring trees, was visible through the windows and looked like something out of a postcard. I believed it to be the ideal getaway. The initial nights went by without incident. My days were spent swimming in the lake, and my nights were spent grilling by the fire. However, a peculiar occurrence started to come into focus as the sun dipped below the horizon. The cabin began to echo with barely audible whispers in the beginning. My initial reaction was to write it off as my imagination being deceptive. But as the hours passed, the whispers grew louder, and an unsettling presence began to permeate the air. The cabin seemed to be hiding secrets that it was dying to tell me. Each morning at 3:24 a.m., the whispers would start, and continued for 5 tense minutes until 3:29 a.m. I made an effort to explain the phenomenon by attributing it to the wind or some natural acoustics, but I had a gut feeling that something evil was going on. My heart would beat quickly with a mixture of fear and excitement each night as the time approached 3:24 a.m. I finally gave in to my curiosity one night and decided to look into the whisper's origin. I took out my flashlight and followed the ethereal sounds as I skulked through the dimly lit cabin. With each step, the whispers seemed to lead the way, becoming clearer and louder. The whispers intensified as I entered the bedroom. My body trembled in a combination of fear and fascination, as the air was thick with an otherworldly energy. I pressed my ear against the bedroom wall in an effort to hear any discernible words amongst the eerie murmurs. I eventually heard it. The darkness was broken by a low, raspy voice. It spoke in a language I couldn't understand, dripping with a chilling despondency that made my skin tingle. The voice appeared to be that of a soul in agony, caught between the worlds of the living and the dead. I stumbled away from the wall in terror as I had a million questions racing through my head. I felt a deep sense of unease, as if I had unknowingly invited something sinister into my life. Who or what was trapped within these cabin walls, and why were they reaching out to me? The whispers intensified over the course of the days, taking on an increasingly urgent tone. I couldn't get to sleep, so I degenerated into a mere shell of who I had been. The haunting nights had tarnished the once lovely summer days. I decided to leave the cabin behind, as I couldn't take the suffering any longer. The lake, the cabin, and the enigmatic whispers that had consumed my summer vacation were all left behind as I packed up and left in my car. However, the nightmares followed me. I used to awaken in a cold sweat, even in the comfort of my own home. The echoes of those ominous whispers still present in my head. My very being seemed to have been infused with the cabin's presence, which clung to me and wouldn't let go. I looked into the past of the cabin and the lake in search of explanations. At that point, I learned a tragic story. That very cabin had previously housed a family in the past, before an unspeakable tragedy happened. Their lives had been happy. All of the people who lived in the cabin perished in a fire that broke out in the middle of the night. The echoes of the tortured spirits imprisoned within the charred remains of the cabin were revealed to be the whispers. In the darkness, they cried out for relief as they looked for solace. Guilt-ridden, I made a commitment to assist in bringing peace to those troubled souls. With my holy water and sage at the ready, I went back to the cabin. I conducted rituals and recited prayers in an effort to rid the area of its uneasy occupants. I experienced an influx of energy as the whispers refilled the air. The spirits spoke back, becoming more subdued and thankful in their tones. They seemed to have found comfort in my presence, knowing that their situation had been noticed. The whispers eventually stopped in a final exhalation, as if the spirit's burden had been lifted. The cabin descended into a profound silence. I was confident that I had done my part to aid in these souls' search for peace. I still have nightmares about that awful summer. My dreams are still filled with the whispers, which serve as a reminder of the sinister secrets that are kept in that remote cabin. It taught me that some mysteries are better left unsolved, and left me forever changed by the experience. A few years ago, my friends and I made the decision to book a beach house for some fun in the sun and sand. We had no idea we were about to experience a genuine horror story. We discovered this incredible beach house with a stunning ocean view. It featured a sizable playground with swings, slides, and a sandbox right in the backyard. Initial impressions were positive. We were all set for a memorable summer break. But one night, as we were enjoying a friendly game of beach volleyball, something odd occurred. I had just served the ball when I heard it. A spine-chilling scream that sounded as though it would pierce right through my very soul. I had been standing next to the swing set to catch my breath. It shouted, "Leave!" loud enough to drown out the pounding waves. My heart was thumping in my chest as I stood still. The voice appeared to be coming from the playground, but nobody was there. Volleyball matches kept my friends too occupied to hear me say it. I dismissed it as my imagination playing tricks on me, and I re-entered the game, attempting to block out the unsettling voice. We made the decision to host a barbecue in the backyard the following day. The air was filled with the aroma of juicy hamburgers as the sun shone and the grill sizzled. I got up to get another beverage from the cooler as we were sitting around the picnic table laughing and enjoying our food. The frightful scream was audible and loud at that point. My spine tingled as the word "leave" echoed. I spilled my drink, causing the ice-cold liquid to splatter on the grass. Concerned, my friends turned to face me. I asked, my voice quivering, "Did you hear that?" But despite the chilling voice that echoed in my ears, they continued to shake their heads. They mistook my actions for a joke, but I was being honest with them. The voice grew louder and more persistent over the course of the days. The voice would shout, "Leave!" every time someone from our group stood in that particular location close to the swing set. It turned into a bizarre game and an ominous warning that we couldn't ignore. We couldn't help but test the limits of this haunting phenomenon as our curiosity got the better of us. We gathered by the playground one night as the moon was high in the sky. To decide who would this time take the forbidden position, we drew straws. As we watched Jake anxiously take his position close to the swing set, it was his turn. The voice boomed, "Leave!" as soon as he stepped onto the scene, and it was so loud that it seemed to shake the beach's very foundation. Jake stumbled backwards in terror, looking as ghostly as possible. We sprinted to his aid, but he was unable to utter a single word. We were aware that we had to leave. Whatever evil presence lurked in that area of the playground was not to be taken lightly. We hurriedly packed our belongings before leaving the beach house. As we ran away from the nightmare we had unintentionally entered, the voice screamed at us, even as we made progress away from it with each step. In an effort to escape the supernatural voice's influence, we took refuge in a close-by hotel. The voice persisted, much to our horror. We could hear the word "leave" being whispered faintly throughout the hotel room, sending shivers down our spines. Fear kept us awake at night and prevented us from falling asleep. We investigated the beach house's past in search of answers. It turned out that a terrible accident had happened there once. It was said that a young child's spirit still lingered, restless and vengeful, after dying tragically while having fun on the swing set. We turned to a local medium after arming ourselves with this information, in an effort to free the soul that was imprisoned and bring harmony to the area. She performed a spiritual cleansing. The voice grew louder and more frantic as the ritual developed. The ghost appeared to be resisting and resolute in maintaining its eerie presence. The medium's efforts ultimately succeeded, and the voice eventually stopped. As the playground came to a complete stop, a mixture of relief and melancholy filled the air. The horrors we had seen left a permanent mark on us, and we left the beach town. That voice, pleading with me to leave, can still be heard today in my dreams. The summer vacation, which was meant to be a carefree adventure, ended up being a terrifying reality. We were never able to discover what lived in that playground, and I really hope I never do.